GamingBolt presents 15 enemies who deserve to be bosses but never got that promotion. Boss fights in video games. You know them, and you probably love them. Or hate them, we won't judge. But you're always ready when a proper boss fight rears its head. What happens when it's not a proper boss fight though? What happens when your average enemy has enough constitution and murderous power to be a boss? Take a look at 15 enemies who deserve to be bosses but never got that promotion. MALBORO, Final Fantasy series. We don't care which version you fight. The MALBORO is outright unbearable. Think of every status effect in a Final Fantasy game and the MALBORO does just that. Bad breath became a factor in later games, affecting multiple party members at once with ailments. Though their lethality varies, they're worse in Final Fantasy VIII than Final Fantasy XII, for instance. The one consolation is that latter games only have you fight one at a time. Regenerators, Resident Evil 4. The Regenerators are your standard fare zombies, except scarier, almost never dying, and with more range. They actually boast an astounding number of hit points, and even if you blow off their limbs, they'll regenerate and come at you again. Fighting one with the firepower that Leon possesses is tough enough. Try handling two at once. Hunters, Halo 5 Guardians. The Hunters have always been the big bads of the Covenant army, but Halo 5 Guardian takes their lethality to a whole new level. Along with dealing absurdly high melee damage, the Hunters also soak up a lot of bullets. Don't try to go 1v1 against a Hunter unless you have some power weapons and explosives handy. Giant Depraved Ones, Demon Souls. A single Giant Depraved One in Demon Souls is dangerous, possessing powerful attacks that whittle you down in an instant, like many things in the game actually. However, fighting 4 in the poison swamp of the Valley of Defilement is the stuff of agony. Not only are they quick and move through the swamp unhindered, but you'll be poisoned and move slower in the gunk. Make sure there's enough safe space to move around and dash away whenever they wind up. Rose, BIOSHOCK. If there are two words that should never be heard in the same sentence, it's spider and splicer. In BIOSHOCK, Rose is one such creature, but she's a lot tougher than the average splicer. It's nearly impossible to kill her the first time, but thankfully, she's exposed once you're caught in a trap later. Don't ask us how that works, just be thankful that she actually dies. CHRYSSALIDS, XCOM series. The CHRYSSALIDS are perhaps the most preposterous enemy you can fight in Enemy Unknown and XCOM 2, but they're nowhere near the nightmares of UFO defense and terror from the deep. Imagine a CHRYSSALID just instantly killing your troops regardless of defense. Running away, they'll just travel across the entire screen to find you. Troops slain by a CHRYSSALID become zombies, but even worse, attacking them creates more CHRYSSALIDs with full health. Silver LYNELS, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The Silver LYNELS are no joke in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Not only are they extremely fast and capable in melee combat, but they possess bows to deal with Link at range. It also doesn't help that their attacks become more powerful at lower health. The Silver LYNELS in particular are tougher to deal with because of their large health pools, even rivaling Ganon himself in terms of toughness. Banshee, Mass Effect 3. Banshees are terrifying to look at and even more so to fight. Capable of grabbing and sync-killing you, Banshees also possess a lot of armor and shields. Their biotic projectiles home in on you, sometimes striking even if you're in cover, and their screams take down all of your shields. Try running away and a Banshee will biotic charge constantly to catch you. 2 Banshees fight Shepard during one key mission, but they're more common in Silver multiplayer games and up. Gracious and Glorious, Bayonetta. Gracious and Glorious seem like your average duo of enemies, and while they don't hit hard or have very much health, they're very quick. They're also capable of breaking your combos, effectively double teaming you and not being affected by witch time. How could this be worse? Well, on higher difficulties you actually encounter them more often, so count your blessings. Badass Pyro Threshers, Borderlands 2. When you first meet a badass Pyro Thresher in Borderlands 2, you'll already be well acquainted with the toughness of Threshers, but hey, you can still handle them and are a fairly dank Vault Hunter, right? The badass Pyro Thresher ends that illusion in a hurry. It's capable of downing you by simply emerging from the ground. Throw in lots of health and crazy amounts of damage and you'll know why we sometimes twitch when thinking of sand. Big Eye, MEGAMAN. You'll probably laugh at the fact that this should be a boss. It looks like a wacky futuristic lamppost. Big Eye is no joke, taking some 20 buster shots to kill. Predicting Big Eye's fast jumps is annoying, especially when it randomly makes a higher than normal jump, and running into it will take 30% of MEGAMAN's health. Sure, you could use the boss weapons, but Big Eye is unaffected by most of them, save Iceman's weapon, which simply leaves it frozen. Silver Space Pirates, Metroid Zero Mission. It's bad enough that you've already beaten the final boss in Metroid Zero Mission and have to deal with enemies while escaping, but these two Silver Space Pirates will just ruin your day. High damage output, general durability, and faster attack make them a pain, especially since they're vulnerable to beam attacks only. Also, unlike earlier Silver Space Pirates, you can't skip them. Tyrannid Carnifexus, Dawn of War 2. Fancy your squad alive? The Tyrannid Carnifexes in Dawn of War 2 will change that in a hurry. These massive beasts don't have health bars like bosses, but they're still incredibly powerful and hard to put down, possessing both close combat tools and heavy ranged weapons. Fighting one in an early mission is tough. Fighting three without the Dreadnought later, especially with their melee resistance auras that reduce melee attack damage by 40%, oy vey. GEKKO, Metal Gear Solid 4. The GEKKO in Metal Gear Solid 4 couldn't launch nukes like the other Metal Gears despite possessing many of their technologies. But they're tough as nails and have to be fought at certain points. Not only do they have anti-tank missiles, grenade launchers, and machine guns, but they can also run and leap at high speeds. Those legs, by the way, real good at kicking trucks, and you very far away. Once you acquire the M82A2 rifle and railgun later, fighting the geckos become a lot easier. Hunters, Half-Life 2 Episode 2. Why is every hunter in a video game so absurdly hard to kill? The hunters in Half-Life 2 Episode 2 fire tons of explosives, absorb lots of bullets, and can absolutely rip through Gordon if close. The gravity gun is a good tool for fighting them since they die from a few random objects hurled their way. Sadly, there's always more than one to fight at a time, so better get good with your flinging. And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.